Okay, this looks weird, but I thought I'd start experimenting with it. Since I've seen a few other creators that I like doing this, getting ready for the eventual move over or the potential move over to YouTube. Um, though I do have an Instagram account, which should be connected up in my page. I thought I would answer a few questions. Usually, I do it in bed. We geeky when we sleepy, but like I said, I thought I'd take this as an opportunity to experiment with the new format. Also, have to find a new microphone to go into my camera because I'm not using my phone. And remember, I did say I had a podcast, and this is why, by the way, if you've asked me to be on your podcast, this is why I haven't responded. I should have at least said no, because I feel I would be somehow cheating myself and my partner if I didn't, go back to the podcast. I still think I'm going to do it one day, but I have to pay Podbean the $100 to get it out of podcast jail. So on with the questions, and we're gonna do different mics to see which one works the best. Sorry, you have to suffer through bad sound. Okay, the question I've actually made a video answering before, but people have asked me since then, and rather than repost, I'll just say, who would I pick to direct a Superman movie? I would pick Alfonso Cuarón. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. He has an Oscar, as you know, already, and I think he has two Oscars, as a matter of fact. But I first saw him when he did Great Expectations back in the '90s. I was once a big indie film boy, and when I saw that, there was just like a magic present in that film that I truly, truly loved. And I wasn't the only one. And when the Marvel Universe started, I thought, I hope they get him for Doctor Strange. He'll bring that magic. And I wasn't the only one who saw it because who picked him? Warner Brothers picked him to direct Harry Potter. They saw the magic in his work, and I think we lose that in Superman a lot. These are fantasy characters, people. I mean, we get caught up in like the sun gives him his powers, a little soft sci-fi, but sometimes I think we lose the fanciful to it. In the director's commentary on the Supergirl movie, yes, I watched it. I listened to it. Do not judge me. He talks about part of the plot. One of the reasons it sucks is that Christopher Reeve was supposed to be in it. Superman was a big part of the story, and then he said, "No, I'm not going to do it." So they had to just kind of rip his entire role out of it, which is why it's so bad. One of the reasons it's so bad. And he said one of the parts of the story was that at one point Superman had to give up his immortality. And I'm thinking he can't do that. It's part of his scientific. But I forget that he would, being French or French Canadian, he's thinking more in terms of fantasy because folklore is more part of their culture than it is us. We don't talk about Paul Bunyan or like or Johnny Appleseed as being part of our lives. But in Europe, folklore that is really part of their culture more so than us, and so magic is a part of it. So he saw Superman as more of a magical creature than a hard science fiction creature. So he thinks so in his mind, Superman could choose whether or not to keep his immortality. So yeah, I think we lose a little of that, and I think a director like Alfonso Cuarón could bring that back. As far as just action goes, Doug Liman is a great action director. He also concentrates on character. Again, I first saw him when he did Go, which I really loved. Again, he showed he could do action and care about character. He did the great Tom Cruise movie, Edge of Tomorrow. That was him. So he shows he can do character and he can do great action. He's got a lot of action credits. He did the first Bourne Identity. And speaking of that, Paul Greengrass, also good with character, also good with action. He could also do something like that. But like I said, let's give him let's give a little more let's give more fantasy to Superman's flight with a director like Alfonso Cuarón. Okay, another question I was asked if I were doing it, which character would I start the DC universe with in terms of movies? I would start with Hawkman. I know that sounds weird, but you have to remember that the MCU started with Iron Man. Iron Man has never been like a major Marvel character that people knew. They really didn't. Even in terms of Marvel Universe, he's B list. They didn't have their A list. They didn't have Spider Man. They didn't have the X Men. Even the Fantastic Four, stalwarts, they did not have them. They didn't have the Hulk. They didn't have any of their big stuff. So they had to start with the smaller characters, which is why they started with Iron Man. And I think that's inadvertent genius, and that's why we start with something like Hawkman. He's very simple. Cop from an alien world comes to Earth to find a criminal. That's it. It's his powers aren't big budget powers that you have to spend a lot of money on, a lot of CGI, a man with wings and some wires. That's it. And even in terms of the characters, even if you go Silver Age, Kater Hall and his wife Shaira, who cops who come here, that works. Or you go with Post Crisis, Hawk World, when they're just partners. He's like highborn, and she's like a working class person, and they wind up being paired. You've got that friction that, of course, leads to romance. Either way, it works because in both cases, you've got fish out of water. Yeah, it's a great place. I think Hawkman would have been a great launching pad. Minimal budget, but that's your access point because they come to Earth and you discover Earth with them or through their eyes. All the other heroes that are around, and there's almost an instant connection with the Green Lantern Corps because again, law enforcement. So yeah, I would have started with Hawkman, as wrong as that may be to some. I was asked about Moon Knight, the movie and the comic. Well, I watched a series, not movie series. I watched a series. I enjoyed it. I have not thought about it since. Really, I'm not really a Moon Knight person. I only read it. I never even bought it really. My buddy bought it. He was more into artists than I was, so he would buy it because of the Bill Sienkiewicz artwork. And at this point in time, Bill Sienkiewicz was in his Neal Adams phase. This was kind of a joke within the comics industry. It was like on the cover of Comics Journal. You kids will know nothing about that. Where Sienkiewicz drew him pushing Batman out of the way, move old timer, and then Neal Adams did a response cover. Yeah, these were the things we cared about. So yeah, that's my experience with Moon Knight. He only had three personalities then, and now they've leaned really heavily into the multiple personality disorder. So that's not even remotely interesting to me. So yeah, that's my limited Moon Knight experience and concern. But yeah, enjoyed the series. Haven't thought about it since it ended. Would I watch it if it came back? It would have to be more MCU centered for me to watch it again. Because again, I'm not all that interested in the character, and just as a consumer, finding out that Oliver Isaac just wanted to do a British accent, which is why he's British, I'm just like, oh God, actors. But yeah, that's all I have for Moon Knight. Okay, repeated question. I've done this before in a video, but it was a while back. Where do I get all my shirts? First of all, geek stores. I'm in a geek store. I see something, I buy it. That's it. Second, gifts. My friends and family know what I like, so they buy me a lot of stuff. 3, Old Navy. Surprising resource for geek shirts. They've had some really out-of-pocket good stuff there. 4, online. Superherostuff.com, eBay. But my source for the most unique shirts, like the Superman Origin t-shirt that I was recently wearing, or the Birds of Prey as Charlie's Angels, teepublic.com, teepublic.com. Steve Rude actually sells his own Nexus shirts there, so it's a good place to get something a bit off the beaten path. I tried to get them, to make a deal with me, but they never responded to my email. So if you buy from them, mention me and say, hey, you should have, given them a discount or something. By the way, they're always having sales. Always having. There's one going on right now, 25, 35% off every other week. So it's a good place to go. I was asked what do I think about Robert Pattinson being in the mainstream DC universe, as opposed to just being off on this little gritty thing. Well, you don't want that, given you're not going to get a movie for another year, and that's too long between movies if you're trying to build a franchise. Maybe a little less time working on a Penguin show and more making the movie that sponsored it, that spawned it. But that's just me. I enjoyed the movie when I watched it. I can't watch it again because I can't get over the fact that Batman does nothing to stop the Riddler, that character they call the Riddler. They should have made him hush. They really should have made him hush because he's not the Riddler. He's Riddler in name only. He's so ineffectual. The Riddler himself thinks they're working together when they meet. Oh, you and I, we've done this. He has no idea Batman's trying to stop him because that's how ineffectual he is. And I can't get over that on a rewatch. I just can't. Even though, like I said, I enjoyed it watching it the first time. I just can't do it a second time, knowing what I know. So yeah, be glad you don't want him in there. Hopefully, the one they have in their mainstream universe will be more timely in its production than waiting for Robert Pattinson's universe Batman. What's the director's name? God, I can't believe I can't remember his name. Spider-Man question. I was when I posted that tweet that someone did about Tom Holland and Zendaya's anniversary and how Marvel wouldn't like that because they're stunted and they want him to stay the way he is when they were 11 years old. A lot of you suggested Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. I know about it. The alternate series where Peter and Mary are married. Mary Jane are married. They have kids. There's one problem. I looked at it, and it's in a world where all the heroes have been murdered, have been killed and beaten. Why would I want to read that? If I want Peter and Mary to be married in the regular universe? Why are you going to give me a universe where all hell has come down and everything has gone wrong? I don't like those stories. I really don't. I like a happy universe. I don't want to go dark. If the price to pay for seeing Mary Jane and Peter married is a darker Marvel reality, then I'm not going to read it. So I didn't read it. And you said, "Oh, you missed something that's good." I'm okay. I just don't care. I don't want to read that dark universe. And again, before anyone says, "What about this new Ultimate Universe?" I read Miller's version of the Ultimate Universe, and he did it. It was satirical in my eyes, and I can't see it any other way now. I can't take it seriously now. Again, doesn't matter how good it is. My perception has been altered by the previous universe, which was done by Miller, to me, in my eyes, satirical. So I can't see it any other way. Another Spider-Man thing I was asked about was Spider-Man Life Story. For those of you who don't know, this was a limited series where Peter aged in real time, where he started off in like 1963, and they followed him through the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. No interest in that whatsoever. I've never understood you people who want superheroes to age with you. I mean, I get why you want them to. You're aging, you want them to age, but even even just like the way comics are made, the way the stories are told, you get a comic once a month. A month has not passed in that comic. There have been comics where like a 6-month storyline is literally a night. Should those characters be 6 months older because you are? No. So they literally have not been aging with you. So why should they? So why should you force this on them? Time literally is not passing the same way for them that it is for you. So why should they? So why should you? Why should you force that on them? I have no interest in that. Keep my heroes young. Again, you want that? Do it in an alternate universe. One where the bad guys haven't won and killed everybody. Why do they always think that's interesting and clever? Like I said, this was my problem with all what if stories, alternate universe stories. The first instinct of almost every writer is to cover the floor in blood of dead heroes. Somehow they all think that's new and original. Yeah, I can show what the stakes are. I don't care. I just don't care. I'm here for good guys beating bad guys. I can get misery in the real world every day. Every day. So no, I want my superheroes to live and win all the time. So those are the only questions I can think of. As always, put them down there. I will get to them. If I don't respond to you, I will make one of these eventually, and hopefully get to some of them. So let's see what happens over the next 9 days. If it goes wrong, I'll see you on Instagram and YouTube. I really don't use my Blue Sky for geek stuff, or Threads. I dropped Twitter long ago. So yeah, it's going to be on. I'll probably make YouTube videos, and then I'll convert them into something for Instagram. Or if it's really short, I'll do it on Instagram, then put it on YouTube later. So either way, that's where we're going. See you there. Oh, this too was a gift. Very cheap, hot topic. So, but I like it. I almost never wear it because it's very flimsy and thin. But I wear it around the house now because it's freezing. But yeah, gift.